Most traders miss the beginning of the first move, which can lead to massive gains. In this video, I'm going to break down a 1-minute EMA scalping strategy that I use with other confluences to hit these huge trends, long or short, get huge gains. Let's get into it. Today, we are going to cover EMAs here. I play a lot with the EMAs, and there's some pretty cool tricks with them if you're looking for those general downtrend or uptrends and what can work best for you. So usually we're playing on the 1-minute, 5-minute time frame, looking at those higher time frames to see where the price might go to for our take profit levels or where we could possibly enter at with fair value gaps. But the EMAs can also tell us when we are possibly going to get a flip in the trend. So maybe we're looking for longs instead of shorts, or maybe we're looking for shorts instead of longs. Okay. So the EMAs are very important here, and I want to cover those really quickly with you. First, there are EMAs versus SMAs, right? A lot of beginner traders will move to this simple moving averages or those SMAs. But those are actually usually used for higher time frames like daily, weekly, monthly. Okay. And you can certainly see where price can resist at certain points with the SMA. But the thing is, it's a slower moving average. So if we're scalping on the 1-minute or 5-minute time frame, it may not be as beneficial for us. It can eliminate, however, most fakeouts, right? There's always going to be downsides and upsides to each one of these indicators. Really, it depends what kind of trader you are and what style you want to kind of use. I would say SMA probably more, for the higher time frames, EMA more if we're like scalping and getting in and out of trades pretty quickly, mainly because, right, it's quick moving, sensitive to recent prices. Here's where the SMA comes, right? Pros and cons. SMA eliminates most of those fake outs for us. However, EMA, there's a higher possibility we will get faked out or hit our stop loss, things like that. The good thing is we got rapid reaction to price changes, so we're able to spot those trends quickly. So if we're able to spot a trend reversal quickly from a short to a long, we can really capitalize off that, make a lot of money. So the SMA actually has overall trend and key support and resistance levels we can take a look at. So maybe on the daily time frame, we see we're coming up on the 200 SMA or something like that, and maybe it's resisting that level. Maybe we could expect to take more shorts throughout the day. So here, of course, right, EMAs, we're going to be playing on those shorter time frames, 1 minute, 5 minute, 15 minutes, stuff like that. While the SMAs, we're looking at those higher time frames, maybe the 4-hour, daily, weekly, monthly. So short-term trading, medium to long-term trades. So the EMA actually weighs the latest data points as an average. So for instance, the 200 EMA would be the 200-day period moving average. The 100 EMA would be the 100-day period moving average. The 10 EMA, whatever you're kind of playing with, would weigh the 10-day moving average, so on and so forth. But this SMA is actually calculated based on the average of all prices of the recent period. So this is more simple, right? The simple moving average versus the exponential moving average, okay? So typically, as we are scalping here, I am a scalper, maybe even swing trading, we are going to look at the EMAs because we want to be able to spot those trend reversals quickly or spot those trends quickly that are going to play out and make us the most amount of money here. So let's go ahead and dive into the chart. And what indicator is this actually? So if we pull up EMA 20, 50, 100, 200, can go to indicators, you can type in EMA, and here it is, 20, 50, 100, 200. It will pop up on your chart looking somewhat like this. So if you wanted to change colors on it or make these plots, however you want to do it, however you want it to look on your graph, you can do it. You can adjust the thickness of the line if you want a dotted line, anything like that you kind of want to do, you can do to it. So, but usually what I am mainly looking at, so I'll pull up my settings here. I am looking at the 20, 50, and 200 EMA, okay? Now, why the 20 and 50? Mainly, a lot of the times I'm looking at this 200 EMA, this yellow line here, because we are going to see price come back and retest that line continuously. If we're on the minute here on Solana, for instance, check this out, okay? See this? So this 200 EMA here, this was a crazy, another 7:30 a.m. today. Something's going on at 7:30 a.m. lately, but look at this. Came up, resists this, came back down. We tested the 200 EMA again, came back down. And you'll see our chart kind of stayed below this 200 EMA this whole time. You could have taken a massive short here this morning, which is pretty much what we were looking at, minus this fake pump up we had here. Okay. So a lot of times traders will put their stop losses above these EMAs as well, or wait for certain crosses on these EMAs in order to determine if we're going into a short and long trend. Okay. So if we replay this here, hindsight 2020, right? We all know it. Okay. But if we replay this here, okay, you'll see we're kind of in a sideways consolidation zone. And this is exactly where our 200 EMA kind of goes flat. Something that I hate, something that you typically don't want to be playing in are these ranges or consolidation zones, okay? Because you're going to get stopped out back and forth. You're going to think, hey, I should take a long here. We got some higher highs. We got some higher lows going on, right? We're kind of cutting through this trend, though, if you're drawing trend lines. So drawing a channel almost, right? Maybe you even draw your fib out. You're like, oh, I'm going to aim for the 0.5, 0.618. We're going to take profit at this top here, which is the top of our range, actually, funny enough, at the 1.272. And we'll see we kind of know what happens next. But a lot of times you don't want to be playing these consolidation zones exactly for these reasons. So if you're seeing a lot of crosses back and forth on this EMA between the 20 and 50, you'll see it's like under, over, under, over, under, over. This is really tight together. We're crossing back and forth, back and forth, back and forth. You probably want to avoid trading this area. This went on for since 1 a.m. to 4 a.m. So 3 hours, middle of the night. Okay. Something you kind of want to avoid are those consolidation or range zones because you will get stopped out back and forth. And you're going to think it's going one way. You're going to freak out and it'll go another way. Okay. You're going to be saying, I don't know. If you're saying, I don't know in your mind a lot, don't play. Okay. I would tell you that right now. All right. So here we are. We'll play this forward. We'll wait. So we are trying to cross below this yellow line or this 200 EMA here. We are holding it steady. Check out how well it held this 200 EMA here. 1, 2, 3 now. 3 times. And sometimes I'll even move to the 30-second to see if we're sitting below or under it. So on the 30-second, actually, we're kind of retesting the bottom of it. So this is always going to look different on higher and lower time frames. If we move to the 5-minute, right, we are above the 50 EMA, but our 200 EMA is sitting down there. So if we're thinking of this logic and price usually wants to come back to our 200 EMA and retest this, then we could be likely on the 5-minute, right? Maybe we want to dip downward. That could be a thought in our process when we are looking at all these different time frames. I'm just showing you kind of the thought process I go through in my own mind. Okay. You'll have to develop your own thought process and recognize your own patterns as you're starting to become a trader. You're going to see things differently as well. But we can take a look here. Let's go ahead and play it forward. All right. More consolidation. Yay. Never a fun time. And check this out. Check this out. Right. This is hindsight 2020. But on the 1-minute here, we broke. Check out this bearish candlestick. This is a pretty bearish candlestick and definitely a lower low, right? A huge lower low. Okay. We got a huge bearish candlestick. We finally crossed past that low there of that consolidation range. And here is the great thing about this. Okay. So our 20 and 50 EMAs are kind of coming downward, right? We're crossing. Usually we want to wait for a full cross on these. So we'll go ahead and play it forward. So now we're getting that full cross. So as you can see, all our EMAs, the 20, 50, 200 are now crossing down. We have a lot of bearish candlesticks. How can we play this out? We can actually look and take our fib. We can look for a 5-minute or 3-minute bearish fair value gap. This is looking pretty bearish here. We should be looking at shorts here. We actually have a bearish 5-minute fair value gap right here. We can take our fib and draw it from this swing low to swing high. And we'll keep it simple today. You'll see our 0.382 is lining up with that bearish fair value gap. I bet you we have a 3-minute bearish fair value gap though as well. So we have one sitting here as well too. So there's some 3-minute and that lines up with our 0.618 level. So these are all the things I'm kind of looking at. So let's say we're going to keep it simple, 0.618. We're going to go 1.272. Put our stop loss above a fair value gap candle. So maybe this 3-minute here, I probably put it a little bit above the 0.382 line. and you'll see we have a risk reward of 2.42. Okay, so of course this is hindsight 2020, right? I get it, I know, but I'm just telling you all the things we're looking at when we're looking at the chart. So check out this cross on the EMA. See, we're dipping down hard now, right? We're not like this flat, bumpy, righty consolidation road like we were. Dipping down. We'll see if we can come back up here. There it is, wicking through our 0.618. Come back up. And there's our 1.272. Keeps on tanking, right? So a lot of people will even try to trail their stop losses with these EMAs. So if it comes back above the 20 level, they're probably getting out. Okay. So you'll see we could have trailed this with this 20 EMA here. So maybe we're trailing our stop loss down. So instead of our stop loss being right here, just draw a red line, we can trail this down even with our 20 EMA here and say, hey, if we come past above this level or so and above this candlestick / resistance level, we even have a resistance level there too, probably getting out, okay? Or you can just simply choose to set your take profit levels at one of these levels, 1.272, 1.618 to 2.72, okay? So that would be a short example of a EMA, okay? So long EMA, just show you really quickly, but you can see this, on the chart as well. We got a cross, right? I'll just do bar replay. Hindsight 2020, I know. Okay, but I just want to show you some quick examples. So we haven't quite crossed here yet, but let's wait for the cross. The 2050 200 EMA. Okay, we have our 50 coming over our 200, kind of consolidating. It's kind of a bumpier one. But now all our EMAs are crossed. So could you take a long here? Certainly. This is kind of a weird trend. Might keep going up, right? So B1, you probably have to mark it in. It's still going up. Okay. But these are the crosses we're kind of looking for on the EMAs. So this would be a potential long, right? When we make these crosses. Okay. So you're going to see this throughout the day, especially on the 1 minute. Check out, yesterday we had this huge drop. I'm not sure when this video is coming out, but this was on Thursday. And we had this huge drop. Look at this cross, taking a short. And you'll see our EMAs kind of flatten out back and forth, consolidation zone, usually a level you don't want to be playing. But you'll see we're resisting these 200 EMA. We're even bouncing back and forth on it for possible longs all the way up here, okay? So that covers the EMA video. If you guys do have questions about exponential moving average, feel free to let me know down below. I do also, of course, have a course if you guys are interested in learning more about TA, some perp strategies as well, meme coin strategies, wherever we're kind of working on here. So a lot more in-depth videos going over those, and I live trade perpetual futures every day, morning and night. Once again, if I have family things going on, I let the group know. But if you're interested in joining and seeing how we trade live, you can certainly do that with me too. You can see my wins, you can see my losses. However you want to see it, kind of help me with my overall crypto journey. Anyways, that wraps up this video, and I look forward to your questions below. Thank you.